The Galactic Council chamber glowed with silver lights. Thousands of alien delegates sat in a great circle, their voices mixing into a storm of whispers. Some had scaled skin, some had insect shells, and some had no face at all, only glowing lights where eyes should be. Together they represented the oldest and most powerful empires in the galaxy. In the center stood a tall alien admiral, his armor shining black. His name was Varkesh of the Krill Dominion. His species had ruled star systems for centuries, and his voice carried pride as sharp as a blade. "Humanity," he said, raising his voice so the entire chamber listened. "A new species crawling into space. Weak, small, untested. They dare to demand a seat here among us. They dare to call themselves equal to the empires that shaped the stars." The council roared with laughter. Some delegates banged their staffs. Others hissed and clicked their tongues in mockery. A smaller alien, with eyes like burning coals, asked, "What do you suggest, Admiral?" Varkesh smiled, a cruel smile. "We should remind them of their place. A colony of theirs rests near our borders. They call it Haven Reach. We will strike it, burn it, and leave only ashes. A warning to all humans. If they resist, we will crush Earth itself." Gasps and cheers filled the chamber. Some races agreed eagerly, hungry for the chance to push down a rising rival. Others stayed silent, uneasy. They remembered stories, strange rumors about humans. Rumors that they were different, dangerous, but fear was drowned by arrogance. On the other side of the galaxy, Haven Reach slept peacefully. It was a small human colony, built on the edge of a warm ocean world. White cities stood along the shore, and children played under the twin suns. Farmers worked the fields, soldiers guarded the walls, and settlers dreamed of a safe future. But the sky darkened. Krill warships appeared like shadows breaking through the clouds. Enormous and cruel, their cannons glowed with fire. The people of Haven Reach barely had time to send one message before the attack began. The colony governor shouted into the comms, "Mayday! Mayday, this is Haven Reach. We are under attack by Krill forces." The signal cut as the first bombardment struck. Buildings shattered, towers collapsed, and fire spread across the once peaceful city. Families ran to shelters, but the Krill soldiers landed, marching through the streets, their weapons burning everything they touched. Children screamed. Soldiers fought, but their rifles were no match against alien armor. Haven Reach was destroyed in hours. Above, the Krill admiral stood on his flagship, watching the flames. He felt no regret, only pride. "Let this be a lesson," Varkesh said coldly. "Let humans know what happens when they rise above their station." But far away, Earth received the final broken transmission. The message was short, the voice of the governor, shaking, desperate. "They have made a mistake." Silence followed. Inside the dark halls of United Earth Command, leaders sat in shock. Screens showed images of the destroyed colony, survivors screaming, smoke rising into the skies. For long minutes, no one spoke. Then an old admiral, his uniform heavy with medals, stood slowly. His eyes were hard, his voice steady. "Record this moment," he said, "because the galaxy has just awakened something it cannot control." Whispers filled the room. Some spoke of vengeance. Others warned of caution. But one truth was clear. The Krill Dominion had crossed a line. Across Earth and its colonies, the news spread. Families cried for the lost. Soldiers sharpened their blades. Engineers worked through the night. The people of Earth did not fall into despair, they grew silent. And behind that silence burned a fire older than the stars. The aliens thought humans were weak. They thought humans were soft. They thought humans could be broken with one attack. They were wrong. The wrath of humanity was stirring, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming. Asterisk, the first response to galaxy celebrated. In the halls of the Galactic Council, alien voices rose. In triumph, the Krill Dominion announced that the human colony was gone. No survivors, no resistance. The message was clear. Humans were not equals. They were prey. Delegates laughed. Drinks were shared. Some even toasted to the lesson delivered to Earth. "Let this be remembered," said one counselor, raising his glass high. "The Krill have done what was necessary. Humanity is no longer a problem." But while they cheered, strange reports began to trickle in. At first, they were ignored. Small patrols failing to return. Scout ships vanishing without distress calls. An outpost on the edge of human space sending garbled warnings before going silent. The Council dismissed them. Accidents, pirates, sensor, malfunctions. Nothing more. Yet the reports grew louder. A Frelkin trader ship limped into port, its hull burned and torn. Its captain, shaking, gave testimony. It was not pirates. It was something else. We saw it in the void. A shadow moving faster than any ship should. It did not answer hails. It did not threaten. It simply struck. And when it struck, it vanished. Into the dark. The council chamber grew uneasy. "Describe it," demanded an official dot. The trader swallowed hard. A warship, human design, but larger, darker. Its weapons tore through us before we could blink. It was as if the void itself had teeth. Whispers spread across the chamber. Could it be true? Had humans struck back so soon? No, impossible. Humanity had no such ships. They had only begun to explore the stars. They had no fleets to rival. The great powers, or so the galaxy believed. Meanwhile, far from the Council's eyes, within the borders of human space, something stirred. The United Earth Command no longer sat in silence. Orders were given. Hidden bases came alive. Shipyards that had slept for decades suddenly glowed with fire as construction began at terrifying speed. But not all of humanity's power was new. Some of it was old ancient projects hidden under oceans, buried on moons, buried in black sites the Council never discovered. Weapons designed not for defense, but for survival against the unimaginable. Humanity had always feared the universe, and so humanity had always prepared. The first signs of this preparation were seen by the Krill themselves. A patrol fleet of 6 destroyers drifted near human space, watching for activity. They were confident. They mocked their human targets. Then their sensors screamed. From the void, something massive appeared. A ship black as night, its hull bristling with weapons never seen before. The destroyers opened fire at once, their cannons glowing, missiles flying. But the human ship did not move. Its shields flared, absorbing the storm. Then it answered. One beam of light cut across the void. Silent, precise, deadly in an instant. 3 destroyers exploded. The remaining ships tried to flee, but the human warship was faster. Drones swarmed from its belly, glowing like fireflies, darting through the battlefield with impossible speed. Each drone pierced a Krill ship, leaving nothing but drifting wreckage. The battle lasted less than 5 minutes, and when it was over, only silence remained. Before the last Krill captain died, His voice reached the council through a broken transmission. "It's Terran. It's coming for us." The signal cut. Panic began to ripple through the empires. The Krill Dominion demanded answers. The council shouted, argued, denied. How could humans possess such a ship? Who gave them this power? But, among the chaos, one truth grew clear. Humanity was not silent anymore. They were answering, and their answer was written in fire. Back on Earth, Admiral Marcus Hale stood aboard the command deck of the Uns Revenant, the ship that had destroyed the Krill Patrol. His crew stood at attention, their faces grim, not joyful. There was no cheering for revenge, only silence and purpose. Hale looked over the stars through the great viewing window. His voice was low, but every officer heard it. "They think we are weak. They think we will beg. But the galaxy has never seen us fight for survival. That time has come." And so the first response of humanity had begun, a shadow in the dark, a whisper of war. But this was only the beginning, because the wrath of Earth was still gathering. Humanity awakens. The galaxy was restless. Whispers filled every starport, every council hall, every warship's deck. The story was spreading faster than light itself. Entire fleets had vanished. The Krill destroyer ships that once terrorized. Weaker races were gone, erased in minutes by a single Terran vessel. Some called it rumor, some called it a lie. Others feared it was the truth. The Galactic Council demanded proof. The Krill Dominion swore vengeance, but no one dared send more ships into human space. Not yet. Fear had taken root. On Earth, there was no fear, only silence, a heavy silence that carried both grief and resolve. The destruction of Haven Reach had scarred humanity deeply. Families mourned, yes, but their mourning turned into fire. Factories that once built peaceful machines now roared with war. The oceans trembled as massive doors opened beneath their waves, revealing shipyards hidden for generations. Steel giants rose from the depths, dripping with seawater, their hulls glimmering with secret designs. On the far side of the moon, dark hangars split open, revealing fleets that had slept in shadows. Old projects, sealed by governments and forgotten by the galaxy, were alive again. And on Mars, red sands lifted as massive engines roared awake. Outposts that seemed like research stations were revealed to be arsenals. Weapons older than the colonies themselves powered up, humming with dangerous energy. Humanity had not been blind. Humanity had not been weak. For centuries, leaders had suspected that one day the galaxy might turn against them. And so, in silence, humanity had prepared in the skies above Earth. Admiral Marcus Hale stood aboard the flagship Uns Revenant. His face was calm, his voice steady, but his eyes carried the weight of centuries of human history. "All our lives, we prepared for the worst," he said to his officers. "Now the worst has come. The galaxy struck first. They thought we would. They thought we would break. But they forgot one thing." He turned, his voice echoing through the command deck. "Humans do not forgive." Around him, the crew stood taller. Pilots checked their systems. Engineers worked tirelessly. Soldiers cleaned their rifles with quiet fury across human space. Entire colonies answered the call. Young men and women volunteered in numbers greater than ever seen. They were not fighting for conquest. They were fighting for survival, for family, for Haven Reach. The first sign of this awakening came to the Frailkin species. Their merchant fleets were traveling near the edge of human territory when a shadow passed above them. They looked up to see dozens of massive Terran warships moving. In perfect silence, their engines glowing like stars. The merchants froze, terrified. But the human ships did not fire. Instead, they transmitted a simple message, carried on every frequency. We seek no war with the innocent, but we will know. Longer suffer the guilty. That message spread across the galaxy in hours, and with it came fear. Because it was no longer rumor. Humanity had spoken. The Krill Dominion laughed at the warning. Their arrogance blinded them. They sent a fleet of 50 warships to strike at another human colony, the largest force they had ever deployed against Earth. But when they arrived, the humans were waiting. The Battle of Sigma Gate was the first true clash between Terran might and an alien armada. The Krill ships entered the system, confident, mocking, ready to erase another world. They never saw the trap. From the shadow of the gas giant, Terran vessels emerged. Not just one, not 10, but hundreds. Carriers, cruisers, destroyers, ships the galaxy never knew existed. Their hulls gleamed with strange armor, their cannons glowing with deadly energy. The Krill opened fire first. Beams and missiles lit the void, but the human fleet did not scatter. They advanced, slow, silent, unstoppable. Then the Revenant fired. A single shot tore through 3 Krill ships in a line, vaporizing them instantly. Terran drones swarmed forward, moving faster than thought, weaving through the Krill fleet and detonating with surgical precision. Within minutes, the once mighty Dominion force was nothing but burning wreckage. The survivors tried to flee, but humanity did not allow it. Every ship was hunted down, every admiral silenced. The battle was not a fight, it was an execution. News of Sigma Gate spread like wildfire. The galaxy trembled. Entire empires began to reconsider their words. The council that once laughed at humanity now whispered in fear. In dark corners, alien leaders asked one question. If humans had this power all along, what else are they hiding? But the answer was still forming. Humanity was only beginning to rise. The true wrath of Earth had not yet been unleashed. Admiral Hale stood on the bridge after the battle, staring at the wreckage drifting in space. His crew waited for orders. He spoke quietly, but his words carried far. They thought Haven Reach was the end, he said. They were wrong. Haven Reach was only the beginning, and across the stars, the awakening of humanity shook the galaxy. To its core, the Ratha galaxy had seen battles before. Empires had clashed for power, fleets had burned entire worlds, and ancient wars had scarred the stars. But what was coming now was different. Humanity was not fighting for conquest. Humanity was not fighting for territory. They were fighting for vengeance. The Krill Dominion prepared to strike back after their humiliating defeat at Sigma Gate. Pride blinded them. They gathered their greatest fleet, 1,000 warships, carriers, and dreadnoughts, the largest armada they had ever created. It was a force meant to crush entire civilizations. In the council chamber, alien delegates watched nervously as the Krill announced their plan. "We will erase Earth from the stars," declared Admiral Varkesh, the same leader who had first ordered Haven Reach destroyed. "We will burn their homeworld, and when we are done, no one will ever speak of humans again." Some delegates cheered, desperate to believe the Krill could end this new terror. But others stayed silent, their fear growing, because the truth was already clear. The galaxy had never seen humanity's fury unleashed. Far away, in the dark of space, humanity's fleets were gathering. Hidden shipyards opened everywhere. The oceans of Earth boiled as titans of steel rose from beneath. The Martian deserts shook as massive cannons were mounted onto colossal war machines. The Revenant was no longer alone. It was now one among many. Admiral Marcus Hale stood on the command deck, his hands resting on the table of stars. Around him floated holograms of human fleets, more than the galaxy had ever believed existed. He spoke calmly, but every word struck. Like thunder, they wanted war. They wanted to see if humanity would break. But now, they will see what happens when humanity fights without restraint. They wanted wrath, and wrath is what they will have. His fleet commanders saluted. Across every ship, men and women prepared. Soldiers loaded weapons. Pilots kissed photos of their families. Engineers prayed to silent gods. Not one of them felt fear, only purpose. That when the Krill fleet entered human space, they expected a desperate defense. They expected scattered colonies, weak ships, and frightened people. Instead, they found hell waiting. The first blow came without warning. As the Krill armada advanced, the void itself seemed to split. Dozens of human stealth ships uncloaked and unleashed a storm of missiles and beams. Krill ships exploded before they even fired a shot. Then the main fleet arrived. From the shadows of Saturn's rings, Terran carriers emerged. From the black of Jupiter's storms, cruisers lit up the void with deadly fire. And at the heart of it all came the Revenant, leading a spear of destruction straight into the enemy lines. The battle was chaos. Krill dreadnoughts fired beams capable of shattering moons, but Terran shields held. Human drones moved like a swarm of angry hornets, tearing through Krill formations. Artificial intelligence guided every strike, every shot placed with surgical precision. In minutes, hundreds of Krill ships burned. Admiral Varkesh shouted orders, but his voice was drowned in screams. His ships were dying too fast. Every tactic failed. Every formation collapsed. "This is impossible," he roared. "They cannot have such power. They cannot, but they could." Humanity had hidden it well. Then came the moment the galaxy would never forget. The Revenant fired its main weapon. A beam brighter than a star cut through space, striking the Krill flagship. In an instant, the great vessel split apart, its pieces glowing as they drifted into the void. Admiral Varkesh never finished his scream. The council chamber went silent when news arrived. Screens showed the burning wreckage of the largest Krill fleet in history, thousands of ships destroyed, millions of soldiers gone, and in the middle of that wreckage, the human fleet stood untouched. A transmission was sent across every channel, to every empire, to every listening ear in the galaxy. It was Admiral Hale's voice, calm/cold. "Final, you attacked our people. You burned our homes. You laughed at our dead. Now you have seen our answer. If you strike us again, know this: humanity will not stop until nothing remains of those who harm us. We do not seek war, but if you bring war to our doors, then you will learn why our ancestors called us the Wrath of Earth." Panic spread through the stars. The Krill dominion collapsed into chaos. Their colonies revolted. Their neighbors abandoned them. No one dared face humanity directly. For the first time in history, the galaxy realized something terrifying. Humanity was not just another species. Humanity was not prey. Humanity was a storm, and that storm had only begun to rise. The shaken galaxy's silence spread through the stars. Where the Krill fleet once stood, only drifting wreckage remained. Their proud armada, built to crush humanity, now floated like ash in the void. The echoes of their defeat carried across the galaxy, louder than any victory song. For the first time in centuries, the great empires trembled. They had mocked humanity. They had called them weak, small, unworthy. Now those same voices whispered in fear. The Galactic Council met again, but the chamber was different. No laughter, no cheers, only cold silence and uneasy glances. The seats of the Krill Dominion stood empty. Their empire had collapsed in days. Governors fled, colonies revolted, and what remained of their fleets hid in the shadows. Broken and leaderless, the other empires asked the same question. Would humanity come for us next? On Earth, the mood was also different. The victory had been total, but it brought no celebration. Cities raised flags for the fallen. Families mourned their dead from Haven Reach. Soldiers stood in silence, remembering why they had fought. In the war room of United Earth Command, Admiral Marcus Hale addressed the leaders of humanity. His voice was calm, steady, but heavy with meaning. The galaxy is shaken, he said. They now know who we are. They now know what happens when we are attacked. But we must not become what they feared. We will not conquer. We will not enslave. Our message must remain clear. Humanity does not seek war, but humanity will never forgive those who bring war to our homes. The Council of Earth agreed. They would not burn the galaxy, but they would never again be seen as weak. The message was delivered to every empire, not with threats, not with weapons, but with truth. Human ambassadors, escorted by massive fleets, entered the halls of alien governments. They spoke simply, "Stand with us in peace, and we will stand with you. Strike us again, and we will erase you." Some bowed quickly, others hesitated, but none dared to challenge. The image of burning Krill ships haunted their thoughts. In the months that followed, humanity reshaped the balance of the stars. The Galactic Council, once ruled by arrogant old empires, changed forever. Now, at its center, a new seat was placed. A black chair carved from the steel of Haven Reach's ruins. And in that chair sat humanity's voice. No decision was made without human approval. No empire mocked Earth again. The Council, once a place of laughter at humanity's expense, now echoed with silence when the humans spoke. But beyond politics, fear lived in the shadows. On distant worlds, alien children whispered of humans as legends, both saviors and monsters. Soldiers told stories of a single Terran warship that could erase fleets. Merchants bowed respectfully when they saw the Terran crest. Even criminals avoided human trade lanes, knowing death would come swiftly. The wrath of Earth had left a scar that would never fade. One night, Admiral Hale stood alone on the bridge of the Revenant. The stars stretched before him, cold and endless. His reflection stared back at him in the glass. Was this what we wanted? He asked quietly, to be feared. A young officer approached, nervous but brave enough to answer. No, sir, but it was what we needed. They will never strike us like that again. They will never forget Haven Reach. Hale nodded slowly. His gaze turned to the stars, and his voice carried a quiet promise. Let them remember forever. And so the galaxy did. The destruction of Haven Reach became a warning carved into history. The wrath that followed became legend. No alien dared repeat the mistake, for they knew the price. Humanity had been underestimated once. It would never happen again. The galaxy was shaken. The council was silent. And across the stars, one truth burned brighter than any sun: never awaken the wrath of Earth.